Longwell School for Deaf Children is a primary school for all profoundly deaf children in Birmingham who need British Sign Language as their first language. So that means that we're a signed bilingual school. Both languages within the school are recognised and celebrated, and the children grow up as bilingual children with skills in BSL and in English. There are about 50 children in the school at the moment. Now, what we were trying to do when we were looking at the PSP project, we were trying to think of ways that we could support the language learning that goes on in school and also support the families, because obviously the catchment area for the school is huge. We have children from all the surrounding authorities around Birmingham, so we don't see our parents at the school gates. So we started with a project working very closely with Birmingham East CLC and also Connected, looking at how we could use these PSPs in the classroom as learning tools. We started with 2 groups of children, the top end of the school, our year 5 and 6 children, and also the children at the foundation, our little babies in the school. There are 3, 4 and 5-year-olds, and we took those as our 2 pilot groups, and we gave them all PSPs. Now, before we gave them the PSPs, we really made sure that they understood the importance of what we were trying to do, that they weren't games, that it wasn't a gaming console, it was a learning tool. We invited parents in to have an Inspire workshop, so the parents knew exactly how to use them, what our aims of the project were, and that was a really interesting session actually, because I had, in my sort of adult mind, thought I needed to do lots of mug sheets for these children so that they could learn how to use the PSPs. So I handed all these mug sheets out that I'd done very pictorially and visually, and the kids didn't need them at all. The parents, the adults did, the grown-ups did, but not the children. The children just go and play and get used to it. So we had our homeschool agreements that the children had a big important part in actually writing and creating, which were the rules of use for the PSPs. And we had parents that were really on board and understood what we were trying to achieve. The parents have found the PSPs absolutely invaluable when it comes to communicating with their children, especially the young deaf child in the nursery. For instance, if the children are going out on visits, they've been to the nature centre, they've seen lots of animals, they're full of actually wonderful experiences that they want to share with their parents. Prior to that, we've had homeschool books, and the teachers will have to write a quick note about what they've done, their child has done today, and that goes home. It doesn't give the parents the full experience of what their child has been learning about. Now what happens if they go out on a trip, the teachers and the children will take their own PSPs with them. They'll film all the things that they see, the exciting experiences, and that then goes in a bag, it's popped home, and the parents can share with their child exactly what they've been doing. The context, especially for profoundly deaf children who've got a delayed language skills, is so important that they've got this visual scaffold. And I know that one parent particularly has said that it has been absolutely invaluable having the PSPs, because what it has enabled her to do is to communicate with her child every evening when he comes back from school what exactly is going on in his life. And you know, that's priceless. So we've spoken about how there are vast improvements in homeschool liaison using the PSPs. That's not just at foundation, with the children in foundation. We're noticing there's great links that are happening with the children in years 5 and 6 at the top end of the school. Again, parents can see all the activities that children are doing throughout their school day. But also, I think it's really important that the PSP reduces that sort of social isolation that perhaps some of our children have got. Because they're taxied in every day from all areas around the city, the children go home each night, their school friends don't live in their street. They're miles and miles and miles away. So children are able to take their PSPs home and film their home, film their family, film their granny, all the events, the street, the friends, and they bring that back into school, and they can share that bit of their lives with their school friends and the staff in school. And I think that's really important, to be able to have that insight into the children's home lives. And I know that the children particularly enjoy learning about home life. I know that in year 5 and 6 they have a session on a Wednesday whereby the children bring their cameras in and they connect them up to the whiteboard, and the children show their shots to their friends of important incidents and events in their lives, and share that experience with them, and I think that's fabulous. We're also finding the PSPs are really useful to enable us to communicate with our deaf parents. Now, 9 deaf children out of 10 will have hearing parents, but 1 in every 10 deaf children will have deaf parents. Now, sign language for them is their first language. So when we're communicating with parents, we are able, using the PSP, to communicate with them in their first language. They can't use the telephone. There are obviously other sort of communication alternatives and solutions that we can use, but to be able to actually sign into that PSP each evening and get responses from the parents the next day in their first language is fabulous. What we've found as well is that parents really value us working with them so closely on this project. At this school, we really welcome parents into the life of the school, but I know that the PSP, the feedback is that the parents feel that we really value them as equal partners in their learning. Furthermore, we're looking at the communication angle. Now, we know that when the children come to us, most of them have got no signing skills whatsoever. So they come at 3 years old and they learn to sign through a normal nursery curriculum. The foundation children are really developing their BSL skills, though, through story. And this then, the PSP can be really exploited to film stories. So when the deaf adult in the classroom signs a story, we film it, we then put the pictures in as well, and the children then can take a signed story home with them to share with their parents. And sometimes we'll actually make sure that the children are the storytellers, so that they can actually take the stories home to their parents, and they're the ones sitting next to the book and reading the story to the class.